That is the sonar up in the wheelhouse of the Pegasus, and now you're looking at her deck. 80 to 140-pound bluefin tuna. Looks more like a long-range trip, doesn't it? Fantastic trip on the Pegasus as they had limits of bluefin tuna for 2 days. Fantastic fishing continuing in San Diego.
Boat's big! We're big! Oh, another one right here! Another one! The whole boat's big!
The whole boat goes bendo. You can feel the electricity in the air. Mustang Sport Fishing, Fisherman's Landing, San Diego, California. Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California on this pristine, gorgeous, sunny, warm, beautiful morning here in Southern California. Surfside is sandwiched right between Seal Beach and Huntington Beach for those of you joining us from around this big, beautiful world of ours, and welcome to another morning edition as we're getting ready to get you caught up with all the very latest sport fishing in Southern California and Northern Baja and a lot of other stuff also. Wow, did you see that lead in? The Pegasus returning to Fisherman's Landing just a few hours ago, and her deck's full of 80 to 140-pound bluefin tuna. Man, I got to pinch myself once in a while when I see a scene like that and realize that that was in 1 day range. It's a 2-day trip and they're limited out for 2 days, which means 2 bluefin tuna per day. So per angler, so they had 4 per guy, and man, that's a lot of fish, let me tell you. But I do have to pinch myself because about 50 years ago, I never thought I'd see anything like this. This has to be some of the best fishing I've seen in my life. So really great stuff going on, no question about it. By the way, I interviewed Pat Whittaker, old buddy of mine, and many of you know him from many years ago, running sport boats here in Southern California. He now is going to be providing live bait at Catalina Island, and I've tagged that interview on to today's show. So at the very end of the morning briefing, you'll be able to check out Pat, see what he's been up to. He's really a funny guy, but more importantly, if you're a private boater, he's going to have live bait for you also. That is something to keep in mind. Don't forget, we have a Horizon trip coming up August the 15th, when the yellowfin tuna should be crawling all over San Diego. By that time, it's already good yellowfin and bluefin if you get on the right bunch of fish, and you need to contact Captain Bill Wilkerson at 619-985-5179. Tell him you want to be on the Friedman Adventures trip. I will be there. Sam De La Torre from Island Fishing Tackle is threatening to be there also. So we'll be there, and it should be a great trip. August 15th, day and a half, Horizon. Contact Bill. Hey, you know what time it is, everybody. It's a gorgeous Wednesday morning, and it's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh, I don't know why I didn't take that sip of coffee earlier. It is so good and so great to be with you all. We've got a lot to cover. We'll go south of the border. We'll cover San Diego. We'll go all the way up to the Channel Islands. There is some magnificent stuff going on right now. Remember to hit that like button, share these videos if you are enjoying them. Tick the bell, you'll be notified when there's new content, and subscribe. We're almost to 10,000, bearing down on 10,000 subscribers. I owe that all to you. I also want to let you know that all of the goods that we have accumulated for Mexico will be handed out at Cedros Island. Well, I shouldn't say all, because we're going to spread it around a little bit, but we've sent literally thousands of pieces of clothing down to Cedros Island, and that'll be handed out here shortly with the help of Diego Nunez, who's a deckhand on the Royal Star, and his lovely family, his mother, his father, everybody putting in so much work to make this happen, and working with the Abalone Cooperative down there in Cedros. They helped us to ship all those goods from Ensenada down to the island. So that is great stuff. That'll be occurring. I'll keep you up to date on that. Also, I visited with Captain Eddie Leland yesterday. It was great. And I visited with his wife. And man, they're still talking about all the birthday cards that Eddie received for his birthday. They had a whole stack of them. At one point, they had them all over the house. When Eddie went into surgery about a week ago, a little bit longer than that, Sue, his wife, was telling me that he was just gazing at all the birthday cards. So thank you so very much for your support for Eddie Leland and his family. I can't tell you how much it means to them, and I can't tell you how much you mean to me, because we have surrounded ourselves here at Friedman Adventures with so many great people like you. Pat Whittaker was saying, these people who are calling, my phone's ringing off the hook for bait at Catalina, they are so nice, so great. You've surrounded yourself with a bunch of great people, and I am so lucky and fortunate. So thank you all so very much. Hey, yesterday I put on the cover a photo of a guy with an Opa, and it was a gorgeous fish and beautiful, and I put it on there because it was a great catch, and then I didn't even mention the guy, so I apologize. Miles Robert from the Marina del Rey Anglers Club made that catch up there, kind of between San Clemente Island, that is, and Santa Barbara Island. I believe around the Snail Bank is where he was hanging out. But sorry about that, Miles, yesterday. I made that up to you right now. All right, let's get into it. We'll go south of the border. There's a lot of yellowfin down there, a few Dorado, and we're in this kind of twilight zone right now, oceanographically speaking. I mean, we still have some cold water. We're like the Western Pride yesterday had limits of scoping. Nothing wrong with that, but that's cold water. And then you're catching yellowfin tuna down below. We've had bluefin tuna up as far as San Francisco. It's just this weird year where we have this cold water and the warm water kind of coming from the El Nino, and it's going to create some interesting scenarios. It already has, and it's going to get even more fun and more enigmatic as we go along. So hang on, fasten your safety belts. There's a little bit of Dorado, some yellowfin tuna, at times really, really good down there out of Ensenada for the Pongueros, and still the bluefin tuna lurking around those guys. A lot of trolling with the Mad Mac lures, which is super effective. It's a great way to get bit, and they've also found some kelps with some yellowtail down there. More locally, they're able to come up with some yellowtail around Todos Santos Island. Sometimes they're around Punta Banda. University Point's had occasional good barracuda bites, as well as a little bit of yellowtail. There's good bass fishing around Punta Banda also, and the fallback, as you can see, for our great friends at Blackfin is great rock fishing going on down south of the border. All right, let's get up to San Diego, and it's not wide open for every single boat. It's, you know, sometimes you miss entirely, and by that I mean maybe less than a fish per rod. But in many cases, it's been really great. And you saw the Pegasus returning. What a great trip they had. Also, the Mustang. Saw everybody bid up on that. You can. I said it, but I'll repeat it. You can feel the electricity when you're on a trip like that. It is so exciting. And whoever that guy was on board the Mustang, man, good job on the narration. You had me really, really excited. Good stuff and looking really good. Mustang had only 8 guys, 31 yellowfin tuna, 5 bluefin tuna, Fortune 12 guys, 40 bluefin, 10 yellowtail. On the Pegasus, on that night bite, Jacob Barclay, who's on the boat, such a good friend and such a great, great source for us here at Friedman Adventures, said the 300-gram Katy Perry rip roller did those fish in. So there's his recommendation for you all. They had 2-day limits on the peg, 80 to 140 pound fish. Now, day trips, it's been a little bit more hit and miss, but they'll crank a big one here today. I'll tell you that. They're seeing a lot of fish. Sometimes it takes to the last moment. The San Diego had a good late drift yesterday and made their day on that. They ended up with 19 bluefin and 4 yellowfin tuna. I think it was 31 anglers on there. You know, not wide open, and they got saved there at the last minute, but there's a lot of fish around. They're seeing it. And, you know, not every single day is all that great. Bait selection is so important. I talk about it a lot, and it is really, really important. Smaller hook, you can go down to a number 4 size hook. I'm going to defer to your crew, though, because those guys on the San Diego, the Grande, the Mission Bell, you name it, any of the boats in San Diego know way more than me. They're out there every day. They are watching what's going on. Take their advice. Some guys are even dropping down. Isaac Parcell, who was out on the Voyager with his son Ethan, and also with Dan Lightfoot and Michael Limon just the other day, said, I dropped down to 20 pound, and it was fluorocarbon, and I chose a good hot bait, and I belly hooked that bait, and that got me bit. In fact, he had 5 of 17 fish, something like that, him and his son. So you got to drop down, you got to drop down. We like Opsin fluorocarbon, you know that. www.opsinusa.com. Put in FA at checkout for a free gift, and they'll take care of you. Greg Brown will give you a hug and a kiss when he runs into you. So once again, dropping that line down is very important. Grande 15 yellowfin tuna yesterday, and there has been some really good hits on those full day trips. Trips that leave in the morning, come back in the evening. Those are still viable and really, really good. Other boats, some guys had some good night fishing last night. Some guys missed entirely. Up here around San Clemente Island, where they've been fishing that night fish, seemed a little bit more dicey, but some of the long-range boats had some big nights. Once again, some other guys missed. It's the nature of the beast, especially when you're fishing for bluefin tuna. So, up and down our coast, well, let me take you out to the island. We'll take you out to San Clemente Island. We'll also talk about Cortez Bank, because on the Cortez, we're seeing some excellent big yellowtail bites going on out there. Royal Polaris with some excellent fishing out there. Several other boats getting it done. Yo-Yo Iron works pretty darn well. In fact, very effective out there on Cortez. I love fishing the Cortez on the Yo-Yo Iron. It is so much fun. But a lot of fly line fish, and a lot of that fish, is big stuff. There's a lot of that 15 to 30 pound grade yellowtail and bigger than that. So you want to fish, if you can, 30 to 40 pound fluorocarbon with a good hot bait. If you have to drop down much lighter than that, you can really get yourself into a lot of trouble. There's a lot of structure out there, and those fish know exactly how to take you in to those bad neighborhoods and saw you off. The abrasion resistance of fluorocarbon is also a key factor. It's not only getting a bite, but it is resistant to that abrasion. So that's another good reason to be using fluoro. Some good fishing out there in that neck of the woods, and of course great rock fishing if they turn their attention to that. At San Clemente Island, we continue to see some good yellowtail fishing interrupted by sea lions. At times there's also some bonita and calico bass and some sheepshead and whitefish, stuff like that going on also in that neck of the woods. At times, Clemente can fire up and bite really, really well. At other times, not so much. Surface iron and a fly line bait has been super effective. Catalina Island, we saw the pursuit there yesterday, and they ended up with a yellowtail 60 bonita, 3 barracuda, and a sampling of other rockfish and stuff like that. Nothing wrong with that. Up in the Channel Islands, there was a really great rug bite the other day on board the Endeavor with great halibut fishing. There's a little bit of halibut around. There's also some barracuda. There's some yellowtail. The Island Spirit out of Ventura Harbor sport fishing has had some good local fishing here recently. And then there's just those days, and this is that enigma that I'm talking about, where the surface stuff doesn't want to bite. Mirage yesterday, well, they had, I think, 3 barracuda, but the fallback up in that neck of the woods is always rockfish. I said, hey, let's go limit out on rockfish, which they did, and had an absolutely fantastic trip. Over there on board the Aloha Spirit, my friend Sean Stewart and Danny Erickson, that matter, from Marina Del Rey Sport Fishing. Danny loves fishing up there, and they had a mix of yellowtail and barracuda and halibut and calico bass and bonita to go along with it. Pretty darn good fishing there, as you can see from the photos and the smiles. It really looked like a great trip on the Aloha Spirit. Coral Sea up there out of Santa Barbara. I had 3 really good friends who I haven't seen for a long time. Why haven't I seen you guys? Where you guys been hiding out? Dennis Martin, Roderick Fromby, and John Moore up there with some great rock fishing. Limits of the bottom biters up there on the Coral Sea. Great fishing up there out of Santa Barbara. They continue to hammer away at it. They've been doing a great job. And I need to see you guys. And wait, where's Roderick's photo? What happened, Roderick? They aced you out of this thing? I don't know about that. All right, let's go coastal now and talk about down there in San Diego. There's some decent calico bass fishing going on the new Seaforth, and several of the local boats are fishing Point Loma La Jolla. Really, really good light line, good hot bait. It's always going to make a huge difference to your success when you're fishing with that. It makes all the difference in the world. Moving up, Oceanside and Dana Wharf, same kind of a situation. Some barracudas spattered around there, some bonita, and then we get up here into the San Pedro Long Beach area. Still some good barracuda action going on. Native Sun yesterday, 19 guys, 63 barracuda, 51 calico bass. Really a lot of action on the Native Sun out of 22nd Street landing in San Pedro, California. Also out of 22nd Street, the Monte Carlo in the morning, 19 guys, 79 barracuda. Good fishing. And there are also a few bass and, a few rockfish, sculpin, In the afternoon, 14 barracuda, and same kind of little pop. I mentioned the Western Pride at limits of Sculpin the other day, so nothing wrong with those kind of scores. Redondo, Marina del Rey, they have had some good bass fishing at times, a lot of rock fishing, however, but there was that spurt of bass, calico bass. Twilight trips have been pretty good there out of MDR on St. Bass and calico bass, and they are starting to see the barracuda. Man, what is going on with that gar? It should be out there in the Santa Monica Bay. As a kid, I remember just doing a number on the barracuda. It was always so much fun, and it shouldn't be all that much longer for those boys up there in that neck of the woods. The Amigo has a 2.5-day trip departing August the 8th with a dear friend of mine, Ernie Montano, and you can be part of it. Just a few spots left. If you'd like to get on a private charter and experience what that's all like on a great boat, when I think fishing is going to get even crazier with all that yellowfin pushing up. Once this kind of clicks off the cold water here and turns warm, we're going to be looking down the barrel of an incredible finish to this summer, a great fall, and probably push us right through the 1st of January, depending upon Arctic-based storms and their effect on us. Hopefully the El Nino will push that out of here, and we'll have just warm water, dorado and yellowfin, and everything else. Back to that August 8th trip, 2.5-day trip out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. Ernie's a great guy. He'll make sure you have a wonderful trip. He'll be there to take good care of you. And if you want to get on that trip, you better hurry up. 714-401-8773. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe, share these videos, and leave a comment down below. We deeply appreciate that. Pat Whittaker coming up next. Don't go anywhere. If you don't know Pat, you'll enjoy listening to this interview with him. I did it over at Berth 55, Long Beach Sport Fishing. That was a lot of fun to see Pat. And besides, I mean, he's been asking me to come down there for like a month, and I've been really, really busy. But if I would have known that a lobster and shrimp lunch were in order, I would have been there a lot longer. Just kidding, Pat. It was great to see you. Spend time with you, my dear friend. Don't miss it. He's funny, and he's got bait for you at Catalina Island. You know, any private boaters, you're going to want to send this to them, because that's going to make a huge difference. He's trying to be there this weekend. You need to call Pat. You need to check with him, and you'll have all his numbers and contact information on the subsequent show, so make sure you check that out. All right, lots of stuff headed down to Mexico. I still have a ton of medical supplies that are going to go down to Tecate. At least that's the plan right now. Cedros, that's all getting handed out, and that is because of you. I get to play Santa Claus. You do all the work. I deeply appreciate it. Really, really, really feel so blessed and fortunate to have you all as part of the Friedman Adventures family. And those of you who sent Eddie a card or kept him in your thoughts or kept him in your prayers, I want to thank you also very much. One of you, I'm sorry, I don't know who, I'm working on that right now. One of you sent Big Fish Bait and Tackle gift certificates for Eddie and I. And wow, we are going to go together and cash those in. That's going to be a special moment. Sue, Eddie's wife, is, you can imagine, under a little bit of pressure right now, but she's going through the cards one more time again, and she's going to figure out who that was so I can thank you by name. But thank you so very much. All those cards, I think close to 100 cards is what came in, and Sue said Eddie was just like waiting by the mailbox in the morning like, hey man, you know, I can't wait to see it. And then all of a sudden there's a dozen birthday cards. I said, well, heck, that's way more birthday cards than I've ever received. And Eddie said, me too. That's all thanks to you. All right, have a great day, a wonderful Wednesday morning. And you know, one thing that would make my day even better, if I got to see you really, really soon. Take care, my friends. Pat, what are you doing, man?
Hi.
Cheers.
Hi, Phil.
How are ya?
It's been a long time.
You know, you've been inviting me down here for lunch for a month now, and if I would have known that lobster and shrimp were on the menu, I would have been here a long time ago, man.
It was a good day. You came on the right day. So what's happening?
So what's happening is you're here. You're going to have a bait operation at Catalina Island here very, very soon. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But for people who don't know you, you've been in this game, especially in Southern California, for a long time. In fact, I'm guessing you and I've known each other for what, 40, 30 years, 40? I don't know.
I think I thought about it the other day, and it's somewhere past the mid-30s, closer to 40. And,
wow.
And it was all right here.
Have you had therapy for that?
There's people that are probably having therapy over me, actually, truth be told. But it was a long time ago, and I've been in Oregon for the last almost 15 years.
Yeah.
And
what boats did you run in Southern California? What boats were you on?
At this landing,
and we're at Berth 55, Long Beach, sportfishing, having lunch.
Old Queens Wharf.
Yeah.
The Southern Cal was my main boat. Then I ran the El Dorado, the Pacifica, the Aztec, even the Victory.
Any favorite boat of yours?
Oh, the Southern Cal was a good boat. We had a good run with that boat. It was the competition was stiff, but we held our own.
You were up against guys like Sean Morgan.
But the Monte Carlo, Monte Carlo, Mark and Paul, and Mark and Paul were just captains, and they weren't. This is before I don't know if they owned the Monte then or not, but and then Ray on the Matt Walsh, when the Matt Walsh was going full speed. It was good. It was a different time. It was good fun.
It was friendly competition, but
it was real competition. It doesn't appear to be like that, like it was 30 years ago. The guys, the electronics are a lot different. You know,
number 75.
and the fishing was a lot different. And we had sand bass and barracuda we lived on in the summertime. And I mean, we were running twilights 7 days a week, and I don't even know if they have a twilight boat anymore.
Yeah, some guys still do, but not like it used to be, right? It used to be full rack.
And then you had Sean and Ed on the city.
Yeah.
And
talking about Eddie Leland, who, of course, our thoughts and prayers are with him.
We love Eddie Leland. Dad was always a good guy.
Yeah. Don't start.
No, I do.
I know you do.
On with the show. So I moved to Oregon.
Hey, I just want to ask you one more question. Yeah. What was the name of the boat? Was it the Real Special?
Oh, yeah.
You used to call me at like 3 a.m. You had wide open bat. You were killing them at night.
We had a 7 to 4 a.m. run, and
7 p.m. to 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we used to.
And people thought you were nuts when you announced that.
All winter long on Fridays and Fridays and Saturdays, and we would carry full loads of people, or limited to 20 people. And we got them. The bass used to bite in the wintertime out in front in the horseshoe and the wrecks that I used to fish. That back then were kind of secretive wrecks. That there are
That's okay.
Oh, hi, Renee.
Yeah, no problem.
I forgot to give the cigarettes to him.
Okay.
So,
thanks. We're doing an interview, but that's okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
Oh, that's all right, Renee.
That's the 20 I found in the laundry, and the change in the laundry, and your cigarettes I
Okay.
bought, and your 3 lighters, but there was 4, and I don't know what to do with the 4th one.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
And how much money? What do I owe you?
Well, let me just figure it out, because whatever change I had left over.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, honey. Thank you.
Okay, Alan's coming down. But
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'll see him shortly. Thank you.
Thanks for making your appearance on our show, Renee.
Our show.
Yeah. No, we're doing an interview right now.
For what?
See the microphone there? It's called Friedman Adventures Podcast. You're on it now.
Oh my gosh, how interesting.
You want to wave at everybody?
I'm so excited. Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, that's so fun. Maybe I'll stay. Hey, I'm just kidding. Okay,
Thanks, Renee.
Take care. Nice meeting you.
Okay, thank you.
So that nighttime fishing was great.
It really was. And since I've been back down here the last month, I've tried it a little bit, and they still bite pretty fair at night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and because I can't catch nothing in the daytime, I can tell you.
I'll have to come out with you some night.
Right.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
All right, so then you go to Oregon.
So I go to Oregon, and I stay away from the ocean for a few years, and then I made the mistake of going back over the coast and smelling the salt. And our old friend, Donnie Brockman, I told him I wanted a boat just to fish with and screw around that had a sonar. And anyway, Donnie Brockman led me into the old bait boat from Port Hueneme that had been there. The boat, 75 years old now, and had fished out of Port Hueneme one owner, the owner and his son, and they ran the boat, and they had a frozen bait business and a live bait business up there, and turned this little boat into $1 million operation.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's called the Manana.
The Manana.
I love that name.
Yeah, right? Of
Yeah.
course you would.
Yeah.
Anyway, they sold out, and the boat, the new company didn't use it. And it sat on the mooring for a couple of years. So I took it up to Oregon, and the boat had never been past Point Conception. It had never been anywhere. It fished in the bay, the Santa Monica Bay, and then up out of Oxnard its whole life. I took it up there, and I went way overboard, and I rigged the boat up, and I turned it into a light boat up in Oregon.
Yeah.
It's got all the goodies on it, and made it into a boat that could survive Oregon. And
weather's nasty, huh?
the weather it can get severe.
Yeah.
And so I was a light boat there for a couple of years. The first year went real well, and then the state of Oregon decided that they did not need or want light boats to support the small squid fleet that was there. And rather than fight it, I'd always had this idea of a live bait operation at Catalina Island. And
Which is, it's, the best ideas are those ideas that people say, wait a minute, why hasn't somebody done that before?
Well, it's been done before. Bill Hardgrave did it. And at the time,
Who's buddies of both of ours.
Right.
Bill's a funny guy, man.
He was.
There's a lot of Bill Hardgrave stories.
Yeah, there's a lot of Bill Hardgrave stories. Yeah, me and him go deep all the time. But he's gone. Bill's gone. Yeah,
I did know that.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something funny about Bill?
Yeah.
He used to leave these filthy messages on my phone on the
Filthy or
recording.
just
It was mostly about the guys. Like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
guy's a SOB and everything. And I had a VHS radio in my
Right.
office when I was doing 976 tuna.
Right.
And I'd hear somebody, Paisano or Strasser or whoever.
Right.
And they'd say, hey, you picked me up. And then I'd play the recording of Hardgrave saying, hey, F you, you piece of... And they're like, hey, and somebody'd go like, why is Hardgrave so mad at you?
Right.
It was the recording the whole time. Anyway.
We had a deal every morning, and guys listened up and down the coast from San Diego to Santa Barbara. It was called The Really Big Show with me and Hardgrave, and we went at it every morning.
Oh, really? You guys were fighting?
Oh, it was huge. It was huge.
People look forward to it. Probably got better ratings than Friedman Adventures.
If it would have been rated, it would have been rated high, because we left mothers and sisters and stuff out for a while, but that went to the wayside. And Bill Hardgrave had one of the sharpest tongues. I have a sharp tongue, but he was hard to compete
Oh my
with.
God, he was.
And he was quick, boy. He was quick-witted. But anyway,
He did Catalina bait then.
so he tried Catalina bait, and at the time he had basically the whole harbor. He had all the boats almost, and he had all the business in the harbor. And it was difficult to fit in Catalina. It's a full day for a bait boat to go from the coast, catch bait, go to the coast, and go over there, and all the water changes that happen in between here and there,
Which affect the bait, right?
Of course,
You kill the bait, right?
Yeah, going 5-10 degrees every 5 miles, it can change. Especially if you came from in the harbor.
Yeah.
And by the time you get there, half the bait would be dead. And then having a person on the bait boat or the bait barge, tending the bait barge and being on the bait barge when they're supposed to. And, that was straight cash back then. And it's difficult to find somebody to handle your cash, and you end up in the long end of the deal.
Yeah.
So he quit it because it was just a pain in the ass. Steve Grayshock did it back in the day, and he was under the same kind of deal, trying to go back and forth. My boat, I'm going to be there. I'm going to live there. The boat's going to live there. We're going to catch the bait there, and it's going to be. We're going to try to run a good operation and offer the people something. Because I know I fished a skiff over at the island in the last 10 years a lot, and I'd run out of bait.
Yeah.
And I would have.
You're screwed.
I would have ran from the west end to the east end to get bait 100 times. And even sport guys on the sport boats, things happen. They run out of bait, and hopefully we can help everybody out and have good bait that's caught there and have some good cured bait on the barge. And it's going to be on me, Phil.
Yeah.
If I do it right, and that's how I plan to do it, we'll be good. We'll be golden. We'll offer a good service. The guys, a lot of the times, if I've got good bait at the island, and you've got a small skiff, you don't want to carry your bait across the 15 or 20, 25, 30 knots. It's hard to keep bait alive.
Yeah.
And the guys that use bait and tuna guys, even fishing tuna on the backside in between Clemente and Catalina there, you got enough time to run back in and get bait.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're going to try to have mackerel too for the marlin guys if the marlins show up again this year, and that'll be it's going to be good.
Yeah,
it's going to be good, and you're behind me, and your people are really behind me, and I'm sorry we had a mishap here this last week on Friday night.
It was a harrowing experience.
Well, it happens, but
yeah.
I mean, we've
had a few of those in your life.
Yeah, a couple. I've been wet before. Anyway, we had a mishap on Thursday, and then we were setting the net out in front of Seal Beach Pier on Friday night. I got the net halfway out, and the bilge alarms went off. And what had happened? The boat had the bait tank. A stringer on the deck had broken the day before, and the bait tank, the bulkhead had slipped back 1.5 inches.
Oh, geez.
And it let loose, and there's 20,000 gallons of water and straight into the bilge. And so thanks to the Orange County Sheriff, they just happened to be out in front of the harbor.
Did you put out a Mayday? Or?
Yeah, I did.
You had to, right?
Yeah. But they were there within minutes, just a couple minutes, and then the Long Beach Fire was there within just a couple minutes. The guys were great.
Did they have pumps to help you?
They had pumps built into the engines. They just we dropped them in, and we got control of it really fast. I mean, we still got a lot of electronic stuff down in the engine room and starters and stuff wet. So they're all being replaced right now. But we're shooting. We'll be fishing by the end of the week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's great.
Yeah. And the bulkheads. We're gonna do that today. Push that back up, and they're good enough here at Long Beach Sport Fishing to let me come in and tie up. The Eldorado's out on a trip, so we can use their slip, and everybody straight across the board, including Paul Strouser and Mark Paisano over with their bait operation. They're 100% behind me and supportive of the deal, and that means the world to me.
Yeah.
And knowing that they're this is not competition. We'll complement each other in the long run. Hopefully,
yeah, definitely.
Hopefully, I can help them out, and they've already done everything. They've done everything that I've asked them, plus, they're both aces. They've been fantastic as always. They've always been a class of operation from the very get-go, from day one that they own the boats, and they've done things first class. And look where they landed. They've
first place.
Yep. And they're both good guys.
They are. They've been very good to me too, with the landing and with the podcast.
No, they're good guys. And Paisano would do anything for me, and Paul already does, because Paul's he's the builder of the more hands-on guy, and he helps me out in any way, anything I've needed. So
that's great. That's great. So bait wise, are you gonna have live squid when that's available?
Well, we're gonna have live squid. That's gonna be. I've got a runny nose. The having live squid. This is gonna be our advantage in this business, Phil. Is that we're gonna be there, and there's gonna be somebody that you can call 24/7. And you're going to get hopefully a speedy response to whatever question you have about the bait, and
also Friedman Adventures. We're going to be carrying constant updates about where, what, and everything. What has that been like? You turned to me and said, "Hey, why don't you put out some info?" Phil, and I don't know what you're expecting.
I can't even begin to tell you the response from your followers, listeners, watchers, whatever you want to call it, is amazing. It's absolutely.
I'm really happy to hear that.
I don't know what it would be. I can't imagine the response of somebody actually being someone that is buying time to be on. It would be amazing. I mean, your people. My phone was just on fire last week, and And for me not to come through, it was heartbreaking. But
hey, stuff happens, man.
but the response from your people was all understanding. They wanted to know if everybody was okay. They
Wow,
didn't care
that's
about
great.
You've got good people.
I'm telling you, Pat, we call it the Friedman Adventures family.
There's no doubt it's family.
I put out like, hey, we need clothing to go to Mexico. The
load
freaking
up.
22nd Street landing, my office is still
Loaded.
full.
Loaded
And
with
we've
stuff.
already got thousands of pieces of clothing down to Cedros right now. And we're taking more to Mexicali and other places. But I don't know. These people are such great people. They're wonderful human beings.
976 tuna, when you started that, I remember when you started that, the following ship that you had then was amazing.
Yes.
But we didn't have the contact like you have now. We didn't know the people like you do now.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It wasn't.
It's kind of like anonymous.
It was.
Who's calling?
It was.
Right.
But now this is, even when I was up in Oxnard, they had squid up in Oxnard, the people are still calling from when I was there, and they're good people, and I've met good people that came and purchased squid and stuff from me. But
yeah, because from my end, you look and it says we've had 3 million views, and you go, does that going to translate into like Pat wants to sell bait? Are people going to call him? And it's nice, and I know what's going on the sport boats, and some of the guys that are like, hey, let's keep this between us.
I had to ask you, please stop. I can't take. It's gone. I can't help anybody else.
I told you, I think, that I had a sport boat call me and say,
"Yeah, you
we
did.
definitely need a couple days in on the dock. Can you not mention us?"
Right. Yeah. Now, how does that work? I mean, how hot is that? I mean,
oh my God, it makes me feel really, really good.
Well, it's good. You deserve it.
Hey, you do too, man. So, are you going to bait this weekend?
We have full intentions of having bait. We'll have the boat there.
We'll work together on that, and I can alert everybody who's watching this right now.
There's somebody's going to have to pry me out of my dead fingers for you to get away. You don't believe that. I mean, and we've been friends for a long time, and hopefully with your support and just your people alone, I think I'm going to be overwhelmed.
I do too. I mean, that's my hope anyway.
And there's several sport boats in the harbor. We're not going to mention any names that are not regular customers of either bait boat. That hopefully I'm going to help them out too.
Yeah, you've already helped some guys out, haven't you? Since you've been down here.
Absolutely. And that's all. I'm not messing with Richie's or Jamie's customers in the harbor, nor Paul's or Mark's customers in the harbor. That's their business. Catalina, that's fair.
Yeah.
And they're good with that. And I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes, and we want to work with everybody and just finish it off down here. The one last flash in the pan.
Yeah, because you and I are no spring chickens, are we?
No. Well, the whole group of us, the whole network. So hopefully we'll get this in and get her done. And Catalina is not a bad place to die.
Oh my God.
Oregon's nice, but the weather is severe up there, and it's glad to be home. This is home anyway.
Are you, and just thinking out loud, I'm sure your plans will change, but is this going to be a year-round thing? Are you going to take winters off?
Okay. No, it's. I think that it's going to be a year-round thing. The barge over there, the barge that we don't have over there yet, it should have been there, but it's not.
You had a little problem with the construction. Yeah.
We'll be okay. But I'm planning. I fully plan on being there through the squid season and be there next spring when the sea bass start. And I can fish the front side of Catalina with my net legally for live bait, and that's going to be a big advantage.
Oh yeah,
a huge advantage.
Yeah, because you talked about that change of water temperature. If you're coming from here and going to there, you're going to avoid all that.
Yeah, and we'll go where we need to go. We'll go wherever the squid are. If we have to go to Clemente or Santa Barbara or to Nick, the boat's fully capable. I can go anywhere I want. I mean, the boat, I bring the boat up and down from Oregon twice, and I fished albacore last year off the coast.
How'd you do, by the way?
We did okay.
Yeah,
we did fine. It was ice, and just ice is not. You don't get the price.
Yeah,
that the refrigerated guys get. But yeah, it was fun. We were fishing 100, 150 miles off the coast up there in Oregon.
Yeah,
and in all weather. So the boat will. It's all weather. I have complete confidence in the boat. And so we'll be back. Hopefully, we're going to be going full speed by the weekend.
All right, that sounds good to me. Pat, it is so good to see you. And
Phil, it's good to see
that
you.
lobster and shrimp lunch,
Yeah,
man. I hate to go back to that, man.
Raphael did a
Raphael,
nice
I haven't seen him for 20 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
You know when I used to see him? My kids were catching mackerel down there on the docks.
Yeah, we used to do that.
Yeah, that's
We
good
used to be
stuff.
bonita and mackerel and everything.
All right, so you'll be able to check with Friedman Adventures. I'll keep you in touch with what Pat is doing. He'll have your bait
and call the Mignon on channel 11, or you can call me directly at 541-291-1347, and I should have an updated message on there for anybody that calls, or I'll take your call or return your call. And text message me anytime for any questions that you have about the bait situation. Okay?
Pat, great to see you again.
All right.
Thanks for lunch.
Thank you.